Welcome one, welcome all. It's been a while, but we are back here with another episode of Echo from the Buttes. I'm your host, Tom Harden. With me, as always, are Andrew Hazlett and Austin Bundy. And baseball season is in full swing, if I may use a poorly crafted pun. Sun Devils just wrapped up a midweek matchup against San Diego State last night. Andrew, you were there at the ballpark, and I've been there on and off throughout the season. I've gotten to see a lot of the same things that you have, but I think we've got to really start this with Landon Hairston. I mean, it's night and day difference what we're seeing out of him to open his sophomore season than what he brought as a freshman, which was still nothing to be disappointed at.
Yeah, he had a good freshman season, but the one hole in his game was he wasn't a real powerful bat. Only had 4 home runs. Took him a long time to get his first home run. It was in the Cincinnati series that came in middle of April last year. And this season, as you said, Tom, night and day difference. Already in double digits of home runs. I want to say the number's 17. I don't have it in front of me.
It is 17. I was just looking at that this morning.
He's emerged as a real talent, gonna be an All-American, I would have to assume at this point. One of the best college baseball players right now, if not the best. He leads the team in just about every stat offensively that you can think of, besides really triples and hit by pitches, and he even leads the team in stolen bases too. And I really don't think of him as a speed guy, but he can do everything. His defense has improved from what it was last year, because he broke on as a DH. And then Kian Vu, the right fielder, he got injured. And then Hairston played a lot of right field. That's what got him a lot of running time. And then they moved him to left field when Vu came back, because Brandon Compton, like Landon Hairston, wasn't the best defensive guy at that point, so they wanted to swap him out. Hairston's improved his defense, and now he's making some good plays out there in left field, as well as his offense, when just hitting home run after home run after home run. It's a lot. I've been tweeting it out. Oh, Hairston with another home run. That's, I think, 14 in his last 16, I want to say. Or just something incredible like that. That number this is a streak for so long that it's incredible.
And he's starting to draw comparisons to another all-time great Sun Devil in Barry Bonds, and you have to start to wonder how long will it be until teams start to regularly pitch around him and just give him the automatic walk.
You start to see it in a little bit. West Virginia on Sunday, I believe, intentionally walked him. You start to see, and Hairston's admitted in his post-game press conference Monday, yeah, teams are starting to pitch around the edges more, but if they want to get him out they're going to have to throw good pitches down the middle, and that's what he's been hitting for home runs. He like I said, he leads the team in just about every statistic. That's include walks. He has 18 this year, and you see him, he's taking pitches that aren't in the zone. Those borderline pitches, he isn't taking those.
Austin, I want to kick this to you. A hitter of Harrison's stature, power hitter, he's hitting over 400. Traditional school of thought would have a hitter like him batting in the heart of the order in the 3-4 spot, but he's doing this out of the leadoff spot. Call it the changing game of baseball, changing analytics. Do you think that he is in the leadoff spot to stay, or do you think you would see him get moved down into the heart of the order to have that more traditional look to it?
See, I wouldn't be surprised if later in the season he ends up in the heart of the order, but I kind of like what they're doing. I kind of like putting him out there first, because especially when a pitcher's throwing those first dozen or so pitches, they're still trying to get used to the game speed. They're still trying to get used to who they're looking at, especially first time through the order. If you've got your best guy out there, somebody who's going to hit those balls that are going to be sweet spot in the strike zone for him, especially when a pitcher's trying to figure out where those strike zone is to begin with, I think you're taking advantage of the fact that he can locate these balls, he can hit these things far, and he's going to take advantage of pitchers getting used to the game. Now, if we're going to talk about changing the game of baseball and the analytics, I mean, you can look to the majors right now. The Washington Nationals, their best hitter is batting ninth in the order, which might as well be leadoff once you've gone through the order once already. It's an unusual spot to see somebody who's made it on base 10 out of 10 times in their at-bats bat ninth in an order like that, but it's been getting them wins. So I feel like ASU, if they're going to take advantage of the fact that an unorthodox approach to the lineup with your best hitter is yielding the right results, I mean, don't fix what's not broke, right?
Yeah, the example I was also thinking of was this fellow for the Los Angeles Dodgers. Some folks might have heard of him called Shohei Ohtani. He's made his home at the top of the lineup. Without a doubt, he's the best hitter, not only on the Dodgers, but certainly one of the best hitters in all of baseball. Same kind of just shock and awe when you see him at the top of the lineup, and he's that immediate power threat right there. But I for one like to see Hairston at the top of the order. Andrew, you touched on it as well. He is up there up there with stolen bases, and if you've got a guy who can do it all from the top of the lineup, why not put him in there?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think conventional wisdom, I would say you have Hairston as your 2 or 3 hitter and throw maybe a PJ Moutsaritis or an Austin Rolig at the top of guys that aren't necessarily power bats but have good on-base rates. But in this new era of baseball, you see your Shohei Ohtani's, Ketel Marte's even batting leadoff for teams, and I think this is the new way to go. Am I on board with it at this point as a baseball theory? No, but if it's working for the Sun Devils, don't try to change it. You're getting your best hitter as many at bats as you possibly can, which I think at the end of the day isn't the worst thing in the world.
And that's the point right there too. You want to have your best hitters get as many at bats when you're starting in the leadoff spot. 999 times out of 1,000, you're going to get 4 at bats in a game. It's to me, it's just common sense. Not only obviously is it working, don't tweak it around, but I just want to see Hairston get as many trips to the plate as possible, get those guaranteed 4 at bats a game, unless it's a complete blowout and you start to work in the underclassmen into the lineup to get them their reps.
Yeah, I don't see any change coming.
No, certainly not, and certainly with a big series on tap this weekend down the road in Tucson, don't want to throw too many wrenches into that. I'm of course talking about the annual conference portion of the Territorial Cup Series taking place this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday due to the Easter holiday. And when you talk about teams that are on different trajectory paths to what was expected at the start of the season, I don't think you can get much more of a stark contrast than this series coming up. Of course, Arizona was highly touted to be towards the top of the Big 12. Arizona State in the upper middle, according to the media in the preseason poll. But this is a series that obviously you don't take anything for granted against your in-state rival, and I'm not going to go as far as to even call this a critical series. Looking at the conference standings with Arizona State sitting in a logjam at 5-4 overall, 5-4 in conference play, you would like to see a weekend sweep to be able to break some of that up.
Yeah, after kind of a disappointing 1-2 series against West Virginia, only taking one game at home, especially after the Friday night run rule victory, you figured you'd able to to win at least one more. It didn't, which I know it stings for the Sun Devils baseball team. So they need to get on the right path here and break out of the logjam, like you said, Tom, at 5-4. This is a series where you kind of just chuck the records out the window, because this means more than who's good, who's not. You want to beat your rival and beat them as much as you can.
And this is a series that could produce an 18-inning game just as likely as it could produce a 20-run victory. Andrew, you put out earlier today the starting rotation for this weekend. Why don't you go ahead and run through that for us and see where this pitching staff racks up?
Yeah, it's been interesting because I want to put this in context a little bit. Last week, you had two midweek games, UNLV and New Mexico State, and then you had the 3-game weekend series as usual against West Virginia. And now this week, yesterday you had Monday for the midweek game. So everything's kind of out of whack right now. So going into the Thursday, Friday, Saturday series instead of the typical Friday, Saturday, Sunday series, it potentially allows for a shakeup in the rotation, and that's what you're going to see. Taylor Penn is starting on Thursday. Penn has started one game this season. I believe it was the second midweek at Oklahoma. Western Kentucky last year, he was used as a midweek starter on occasion. He's been pitching well this year. I think this is the right guy to go with at this point. Bloomquist, this is all tentative and could change. So take it with a possibility that it might change. Cole Carlone starting Friday. They wanted to leave Carlone in the Friday role, keep everything the same from his first year's starter. They don't want to tinker by moving him up a day and then moving him back at this point, which I get it. It makes sense. That's not something I was expecting, but it's logical. I get it. And then they move Cole Klecker up to Saturday, and Cole Klecker has been the number 2 guy in terms of results this season, been doing better than your Alex Overbays of the world right now. So yeah, it makes sense. I think that's something something similar to what I would have done. And then it will be interesting moving forward. Is Taylor Penn your Sunday guy now? Because I would imagine it's going to be Cole Klecker on Saturdays moving forward. Is Penn going to be your Sunday guy now? Is he going to be your starter? Are you going to move Easton Barrett or Colin Linder into that Sunday role? Or are they going to stay midweek? Where's Alex Overbay going to fall? Is he going to be the guy that backs up Cole Carlone, which he was doing very impressive to start the year, only allowed 1 run, and I think 3 times he did that. So it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out after this series. But regardless, I think this is I think it's how I would draw it up, or close to it. So I like the move.
Austin, the midweek game earlier in March between these two teams produced a very decisive victory for Arizona State. Do you see, with the watching from a distance, from what you've seen out of this team, do you see the potential for more like that to happen this weekend, or being down in the hostile environment in Tucson? What do you expect to see out of this weekend series?
I think the Territorial Cup Series is always so unpredictable that you can never take the previous body of work for either team and directly apply it to what you think is going to happen in those games. It's a different environment. Guys step up differently in a rivalry game. Some pitchers may have some new heat to them that could go in their favor. It could go against them if they're a little too amped up, maybe. I think ASU has a better chance than not to see more of what they've been giving us, just because when you're hot, you're hot. Though in baseball, I mean, we all know that can just come to a screeching halt whenever. My biggest question for them going into this series, I think, is to not let it bring them to a screeching halt, because it's a completely different atmosphere. It's a completely different mindset going into a rivalry series as opposed to just another conference series. I don't want them to get caught up in that moment and have it bring them down, or have them play outside of the level, outside of the groove that they're in, because clearly they're playing winning baseball. Clearly they're playing the right kind of style that has got them stacking up W's. And if they go in and treat it I don't want them to not treat it like a rivalry game. I don't want them to not go in there with any kind of head of steam or anything, but I don't want them to go in there, play a different type of game just because it's U of A, and then that ends up affecting the rest of the season down the road. But then again, you also have to ask, is the style of play they have sustainable? Is everything, all the runs they're scoring, is it sustainable? Are they going to be able to keep that up? And I think this weekend is going to be that first test, especially because they may have to change up the mindset. They may change up how they approach each game. But I would like to see them continue the type of baseball they've been playing. I mean, they've been winning, and if they can replicate it going into Tucson, all the better for the program.
Absolutely. This is really the series to start to make some noise in the Big 12 standings. Still ranked in the top 25, holding on to that number 25 spot according to D1Baseball.com, and really just time to take care of business. But all 3 games will be televised. You can watch on Thursday and Friday, both on ESPN Plus, and Saturday will be available on ESPN2. Moving over to
I do quickly. I do want to give you one note, if I can find it here. By my math, with a sweep, Willie Bloomquist gets to 150 career wins as an ASU head coach.
That is quite the milestone, and we'll all be hoping that he is able to get that this weekend. It would be all the more sweeter against Arizona as well, at least in my opinion. But moving over to the other diamond sport in play right now, Arizona State softball is off to a 28-9 start on the season, but struggling a little bit in Big 12 play. Currently on a 5-game winning streak. The ladies are playing incredibly well at Farrington, 21-7 record, and we're seeing some great performances. Andrew, have you actually been able to make it over to softball for any games this season?
Yes, I have. I was able to catch one there. The extra inning game against Oklahoma State on March 13th. But from what I've seen, Tom, is two of the 3 series they've had are ranked series. So yes, it's concerning to see them be what was the number you said? It's 3-6 in conference play. But I think that number is going to prove that sweep against Utah at home is really concerning to me. But seeing them take 2 and at home against Oklahoma State, and then seeing them dominate one of the 3 games against U of A, and almost take a second one that would have been really huge for the Sun Devils as well. It's a little concerning, but it's not too concerning.
I do want to give a shout out to Ashley Mejia, a big 8 RBI game with 2 grand slams just a few days ago. Big offensive outbursts like that, no matter whether it's baseball, softball, individual performances like that are really what drive the bus for this team.
Yeah, she's been performing well, leads the team in hits. Certainly been one of those names for Coach Bartlett where you just write it in every day and write her name in right field and pretty easily. Like, there's no thought into that. There's other positions on the team where you kind of say, okay, all right, who am I playing today? But Mejia and Kaylee Pond, the center fielder, haven't been those players this season. They've been where you can just write it and forget it.
And speaking of Kaylee Pond, Mejia, Kaylee Pond, and Katie Chester create a very dynamic trio of power hitters all throughout the lineup. Austin with these 3 power hitters, what's really holding back an offense like this when you have 2 in double digits and 1 more approaching double digits?
I mean, it could be anything across the board. I mean, I don't necessarily keep up as close with softball as many others, but you would think that it could be, I don't know, a routine thing. It could just be not seeing the ball well, not seeing. honestly, it could be a whole variety of things. But when it comes to the way that they've been playing lately, they seem like a team that can snap out of a slump if they hit one, you know? So I'm confident that whatever it is they're going to run into later on this season, because the Big 12 is a gauntlet regardless in the sport of softball. So I am not worried that if they do hit anything like that, it's going to impact them for an extended period of time. But I give them credit to where they've gotten so far, just because, I mean, they're winning games. They look like a team that can make a run if they really need to. Like, this is a team that can rattle off the wins if they need to. They have the pitching, they've got the power. It's just going to come down to seeing pitches well and base running. Well, I don't think people give a lot of credit to base running in softball. So if they can figure that out, I think it's going to be a better season going forward for them.
Looking ahead to the schedule, the Lady Devils will also be on the road, traveling to Kansas for this Easter weekend series again. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All those games also on ESPN Plus. We're going to take a little bit of a jog over to some of the sports that we don't normally cover here on our show, and I use the word jog again as a poorly crafted pun to move into the track and field teams. Looking at the indoor season, which is winding down to a close. 9th place overall in the Big 12 in the men's standings, and 16th at the on the women's side in the indoor championships. But some Big 12 titles to shout out: Amir Thompson winning the 200 meter dash with a school record time of 20.4 seconds, breaking a 21-year-old program. Me personally, I couldn't even run 2,000 meters in 20.4 seconds. So I have the utmost respect for sprinters who were able to knock down those times. Jaden Davis also won the conference indoor title with a season best time of 45.31 seconds in the 400 meter dash. And also shout out to Amir Thompson, first team All-American honors at the NCAA Indoor Championships. All around solid individual season on the indoor side. Getting ready for the outdoor season that's currently in progress. The upcoming dual meet down in Tucson against the University of Arizona. Guys, I'm just going to make this kind of open forum for any thoughts that you guys have on the track and field season.
Winning is good. We like winning.
Yeah, I echo what Austin said. That's a sport where I don't really know much about besides they run, and then they do other stuff besides running too. But yeah, I hear a lot of good things. That sounds like they're doing well. So yeah,
run fast, throw things far, win medals. I think that's just about the gist of track and field.
And I think they do jump too.
Oh yeah, jump far.
Jump high and jump far.
Yes.
I want to give a shout out to the men's swim and dive team. They came in 4th in the NCAA national championships. Broke a few NCAA records as well. You had 200 meter freestyle relay. Were national champions. 400 freestyle relay national champions. Leah Caroon was a first team All-American after finishing, what was it? He won the national championship for the 200 fly as well. He's the second Sun Devil men's swimmer to win multiple national titles in the same event. The only other person to do that was Leon Marchand, who famously won many medals at the Paris Olympics and at the last 2 NCAAs ago when ASU won the national title. Who else did they have here? Johnny Coulot, he finished 5th in the 100 free, but he was also named a first-team All-American. So all impressive all around for a lot of our swimmers. And the women were Big 12 champions back-to-back years, so that's pretty impressive as well.
No, it's interesting to me looking at the final scores here that the former Arizona State head coach Bob Bowman, who's now at Texas, he won it with Texas this year.
He's a legend of the sport.
I'm glad you bring up swim and dive and Ilya Karun specifically with that 200-meter freestyle relay. Ilya just set the pool on fire with a 17.76 split time for his 50. As a former swimmer myself, that it's just mind-boggling seeing some of these times, and you know, glad to see that it's happening for the Sun Devils.
They go blistering speeds. I mean, I'm looking at their 50 free times here too. Ilya Karun with an 18.51 in the 50 free. Like, give me a break, man. Like, as a former swimmer myself too, I'm looking at that and I'm like, I'd be lucky to finish the 25 in that right now.
My exact thought as well. I was never a sprinter. I was always the distance kid. We'll move on from the pool to another sport that has meets. This time is gymnastics. The Gym Devils are actually getting ready to host the Tempe Regional of the NCAA tournament. Ranked number 32 nationally, that regional is getting set to start on April 1st after the Sun Devils finished 4th overall in the Big 12 championships, winning their afternoon session in the championships. Some of the best performers throughout the year. Kimberly Smith as the primary all-arounder. She was named All Big 12 with 3 titles on Senior Day, and top all-arounder in the afternoon session at the Big 12. Also, Reese Rula, second place on the bars at the Big 12 championships, and lots of solid performances out of freshmen Kylie Gromley, Sophia El Maman, both named to the Big 12 all-freshman team. Thoughts?
You know what's interesting as I'm looking at this now is that this first round is you're against Arizona, your rival, and I wonder across all of your tournaments, how often is it that you face your in-conference rival first round?
Now, I think most tournaments try to avoid an in-conference matchup. I can speak primarily for hockey that at all costs in-conference matchups for the first round are avoided, but I assume it's the same across most every other sport.
I mean, it's definitely the same in basketball. They're not allowed to do that in March Madness. But I'm not entirely sure how it works, but how did the women finish, or are currently ranked 32nd in the nation, but they're hosting a regional, or is this like is it a bigger meet with other teams, or is this just a one-on-one that they're hosting?
I believe it might just be a one-on-one.
Yeah, it's a dual meet, so I do believe that is a one-on-one.
Okay, yeah, that makes more sense, because to me, hearing say like hosting a regional made me think like, oh, like they got to host like 4 teams for a meet. That I wasn't sure. I don't know how gymnastics NCAA tournament or their championships, how that works.
I don't really know either, so try to learn everything while I'm here at Arizona State covering everything.
We're looking at I'm taking a look at the bracket right now. There are only 2 first round brackets that are taking place starting tomorrow, April 1st. The Baton Rouge Regional between Air Force and Nebraska, and then the Tempe Regional between Arizona State and Arizona. Then you have a couple more first rounders going tomorrow in Lexington, Corvallis. Then there's a second round from Tempe. The sessions are to be determined.
So does that mean ASU is hosting multiple schools? Because if Baton Rouge is hosting a regional and LSU is not involved in that dual meet, I wonder if these are regionals that are predetermined, like March Madness, where there's a host school regardless of who makes it?
That may be the case. I'm confirming what all the host sites are.
Because that would make a little more sense, but I'm a little surprised that like Wells Fargo would continually get picked for a regional something or like that, because it is rather small. Or have they been doing these at Mullet?
There's been a mix of gymnastics meets at Mullet as well, but I am looking at the at the second round of the tournament. LSU is a number 2 overall seed in the tournament, so they are obviously participating in the Baton Rouge regional. You have Oregon State that is not ranked but is a host. So you're looking at Kentucky, the number 16 overall, but number 1 overall Oklahoma is also in that same region.
Okay, so this must be predetermined as opposed to like you host based on what your seeding is, you know.
There are a total of 9 teams that are participating in each regional. Arizona and Arizona State are playing in to fill out the field of 8 for the region. Other teams that are making up the region are number 6 overall Georgia, number 11 overall Michigan State, number 3 overall Florida, number 14 overall California, and then BYU, Southern Utah, and Penn State.
So ASU's having to play into their own regional here, it sounds like. Is that how you're describing it?
That's what it's appearing to me.
Wow. Crazy how that works out.
The more you know, right? That region kicks off tomorrow on April 1st. If you're in the Phoenix area and are able to get down to Desert Financial Arena, definitely check it out. Otherwise, the meet will be aired on ESPN+. I'm going to kick it back outside, looking at beach volleyball now. We covered indoor volleyball pretty extensively this season, and only fair to give the love to the ladies out on the beach. 13-6 overall record. I believe reached a top 10 ranking. I'm not sure what the current ranking is, but hard to ignore a 10-0 start for the best start and the longest start in program, or longest winning streak in program history.
Yeah, that's impressive. I mean, I don't watch much beach volleyball, but to go 10-0 to start off your season, get up that high, and still, I mean, 13-6, that's nothing to stick your nose up at. But clearly there's a bit of a slip up going here, so hopefully they can snap out of it and get back on the positive end of this next stretch of games they've got.
They've been playing a lot of ranked teams as of late. What I'm looking here on the calendar, in the last six games that they've played were all ranked, and then the previous, and then that's 10 out of the last 11 games were ranked. So it's been a tough schedule as of late, but they have won, let's see, 3 games in that stretch, so decent. And then before that, they played a total of 5 ranked games and won those 5. So I lost counting the ranked games total, but I think that's 7 in like 6 against ranked teams this season, if my math's right.
Yep, that's not bad. I mean, they went 10-0 to start, or 3-6 since then.
And the signature win for sure so far this season was an upset of defending national champion and then number 5 ranked TCU. But it's certainly a great trajectory on the season. Ava Korunchik and Samaya Morin are the top pairing for the team, both redshirt seniors, 15-7 on the year. Named Big 12 Pair of the Week earlier in March, coming off of that 10-0 start. And then you've got the transfer duo of McKenna Flaherty and Kristen Gilmore, starting 9-0 on the season. And they got the only win during the East Meets West Invitational against Cal, who was number 10 at the time. But lots of good things going on for the beach volleyball side. They will be home this weekend for the Sparky Invitational, April 3rd and 4th, before the Big 12 championships start down in Tucson, which are at the end of April. I'm sure there's other matches in between there. I don't have the full schedule right up in front of me.
But looking at college beach volleyball rankings updated as of yesterday, Arizona State sits 11, or as high as 8 at one. Top school in Arizona, I might add, too.
Well, that's what you love to see.
GCU right behind them in 12th.
But I learned that GCU has a beach volleyball team.
We got all the sand out here. I mean, might as well use it, right?
Exactly.
And then Arizona is down there a little bit, 23rd.
There's no Oklahoma Coastal? I thought they'd be up there.
Not that I could see right now.
Powerhouse school like them, I would expect them to be towards the top.
I guess the coast there doesn't bring up much beaches.
More of a muddy coast there, I would imagine. But we'll pivot over to another sport that involves sand, one that Andrew, I believe you played in high school, and I play badly recreationally. That is, of course, golf. The men's team is very highly ranked this season, as they tend to be year over year. Currently ranked in the top 10 with 3 team titles on the season, and probably the biggest win I would say for this season, a 20-stroke win at the Desmond Invitational, definitely the high point of the season. Looking to charge their way to another national championship team appearance over in, I believe it's in Carlsbad. I attended the tournament last year, but this team is definitely right on the way to getting back over there.
Yeah, they've got a couple guys that are doing well. I want to highlight FIFA Laupakdi, I believe it's how it's pronounced. Thai golfer, he won the Asia Pacific Amateur Championship last year. That gets him an invite to the Masters and British Open this year as well. So he's definitely got some big things coming for him. He's clearly the team's number one guy from what I've seen.
Isn't that how John Rahm started? He won the amateur at the Masters.
Yeah, you're testing me this on the Austin. I don't know off the top of my head, but I do want to say he had a good showing there.
I know he won some amateur at a major. I could have swore he won an amateur title at a major before he went big.
He was the low amateur at the U.S. Open in 2016.
U.S. Open, okay. I knew it was a major, but I couldn't remember which one. But he does have a green jacket, so.
That he does.
And a U.S. Open championship.
That tournament, too. I also want to call out senior Michael Miaseth. Miaseth? I believe that's how you pronounce his name. But also up there with FIFA Lapakti. He's, I believe, ranked number 14th in the Cook rankings. So definitely a very, very strong duo leading the charge for the men's golf team.
Might see them on the professional tours in a few years or so.
More Sun Devils on the tour is A-okay by me.
Just as long as it's not Liv. But I digress.
Only a matter of time before Liv and PGA come back together, I think.
I mean, it'll be all the better with having players like Rahm back on the tour, but I'm not sure if I want to see what compromises they make by bringing Liv into PGA.
That's a whole conversation for another show, but strong seasons all around for the spring sports in action. You can catch most any ASU athletic event on ESPN Plus, or head on out to some of these other lesser promoted sports. I think I'm definitely going to make a point to check out some beach volleyball this weekend. I've never actually been to a beach volleyball match, and I think it's time to cross that off of my list.
I will not be at beach volleyball this weekend. I will be in Tucson on Saturday for baseball.
There you go.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Of course, the off-season headline that's been carrying a lot of weight for the Sun Devils is the hiring of Randy Bennett. Unfortunately, his introductory conference has been postponed due to health concerns. We wish him a speedy recovery and look forward to his introduction as soon as it is able to happen. But what we do want to talk about is the coaching staff that he's filling out, and this staff is looking to be very positive movements for the basketball program. Rick Croy and Joe Rehan both hired on as associate head coaches. Austin, I want to kick this over to you. What's your first impression of the staff so far?
I mean, it's experienced. I like what he's bringing in. I am hopeful in the fact that he's bringing in guys who are going to, for me, the first priority for me is bringing in guys who are going to know the transfer portal, who are going to know where to go out on the recruitment trail and to be able to find those diamonds in the rough. I mean, I'm not expecting him to go out there and necessarily do what Hurley did, which was find some of those five-star guys and entice them in. And I mean, we all know what happened in the Hurley era. Bringing those five stars doesn't necessarily translate to wins, doesn't necessarily translate to team chemistry. But I mean, it's impressive to bring in a guy from Cal Baptist when Cal Baptist has had a pretty impressive run over the last few years. They were in the tournament this most recent season. That tells me that he knows how to identify talent. He knows, rather than bringing in familiar faces, bringing in guys that he already knows he can work with, he's looking for game changers. He's looking for guys who can take that next step on his staff, guys who can potentially take over for him if it ends up that this is his final stint in college basketball. So I am hoping that a lot of these hires have some foresight to them, rather than just thinking about what can they do for me right now at Arizona State, but also what can they do for the program in the future. So it's overall positive, overall impressive, and it's got me hopeful moving forward that they're going to bring in some decent talent and they're going to get the program back on track.
And you mentioned guys that know the transfer portal. Both these guys actually have experience coaching under Bennett. Troy was under Bennett at St. Mary's from 2010 to 2013 before taking the job at Cal Baptist. Started his coaching career as a graduate assistant and has now followed Bennett over to Arizona State. But Andrew, it's a mix of familiarity in that these coaches have both been under him, but also unfamiliarity coming from coming from unfamiliar prior destinations. Is this the coaching dream team, would you think? Is this, as Austin mentioned, is this setting up for coaches who could assume the mantle if and when, if the time does come?
I know I don't know as much about basketball as you guys do, but the Rick Croy hire, to me, is outstanding. And a guy who took Cal Baptist to a tournament last, I don't know how you want to look at it, because the season's over for Arizona State and Cal Baptist, but it's technically still ongoing. If it's this year or last year, that doesn't really matter. But he took Cal Baptist to the tournament as a pretty high seed for a smaller school of that size. To get him away from a head coaching role to be an assistant coach, to me, says something that Bennett is a good hire. Because I don't know about you guys, I think it's pretty hard to pry a guy who's coaching at a school, who's fairly successful at least, to say, hey, you want to be an assistant here. And it doesn't seem like a lot of people would make that move. But that shows me something that Randy Bennett is probably a good hire if he can do that. And we'll see if Croy will be the next guy in line when Bennett decides to call it, which could be short as maybe 3 years, could be 10, 12 years down the road. You never know.
I think you make a good point there, Andrew, especially because he was an associate head coach at Cal Baptist, where he could have been heir apparent to whoever's there right now. I mean, Cal Baptist 25-9, their best record since turning D1. That's already a path to taking over a program like that, or launching yourself into a head coaching gig elsewhere. To trust Randy Bennett to go and be his assistant, I mean, to me, that kind of smells like a succession plan right there. So, I mean, it's a great hire for a succession plan. Home run hitter right there. So I think ASU fans should feel comfortable in the fact that if Randy Bennett is not destined to be ASU's head coach longer than whatever his contract is right now, then the program, I think, should be in good hands if it passes off to Croy.
And I'll close my thought with this. It speaks well to the culture that Randy Bennett brings. When you have coaches that are, Andrew, you hit it right on the head. Coaches that are willing to move away from a head coaching position to come back as an associate head coach. That speaks volumes to, when you piece together that coached under him previously, gone off and established his own reputation as a head coach, but now he's coming back into the fold. I like that continuity that comes with coming out of the Randy Bennett coaching tree, as it were. And what would a show be without some football talk? Austin, you brought up this topic earlier today. What's this we hear about some flag football starting to be sponsored?
Yeah, Big 12 announced earlier this week that they're going to explore sponsoring, at least have some of their schools sponsor women's flag football as soon as the 2027 season or the 2028 season. I would like to see Arizona State be one of those initial schools. I think when it comes to ASU being number one in innovation, how much more innovative can you get than literally creating a brand new sport for the university to sponsor? And I think there would be a decent turnout, if not a great turnout, in recruiting and bringing in even walk-on student athletes to play flag football for ASU. I think it's a great opportunity. I know there's going to be conversations about doing financial and I don't even know what another term would be for, but the type of gymnastics you would need in order to navigate Title IX requirements. I don't know off the top of my head if ASU has wiggle room on Title IX or if there's going to be another program potentially that has to get cut in order for it to be sponsored officially. We'll find out, but I do think this is a great opportunity for ASU. Michael Crow likes to jump in on brand new ideas like this. He likes to jump in ground level on experimental projects. I would not be surprised to see him or to see Graham Rossini view this as a really good opportunity to expand ASU's brands, get in on something that could potentially blow up into a hot sport with it being introduced at the 2028 Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. The NFL is heavily involved in it already. We already know, at least from that flag football challenge, the Fanatics flag football challenge, that NFL players are not going to be dominating flag football teams going forward. There is room for flag football devoted athletes to make their own path and to be able to establish their own niche in the growing sport. So I think ASU would be a great landing spot for one of these sponsored programs if the Big 12 follows through on this.
Yeah, what you mentioned, Austin, is potentially cutting programs. Yeah, I like the idea of introducing things, but I just don't like the idea of cutting programs to introduce things. We saw Iowa State cut their gymnastics program, which I kind of followed a little bit, as I just find schools cutting programs interesting, not necessarily good, but just the fallout of that. There isn't a Big 12 sponsored sport that Arizona State, at least on the men's side, doesn't have. There's a few women's sports. You could. If ASU wanted to, they could pick up like a men's lacrosse or a men's soccer or men's volleyball, which a couple other schools do. I don't think they'd pick up men's skiing, just because there's no snow in Phoenix or Tempe. And then rifle is believed a co-ed sport, so I'm not quite sure the rules of that, but that just possibilities of that's what ASU might have to add if they have to add another program, if to add a women's flag football, which I think would be cool to add, because I think the more sports a school has, the better.
More opportunity for championships, and I've always been a little bit skeptical of these playground sports like flag football, dodgeball. It's more of a fun thing when you see ESPN run their Ocho periodically, but seeing it start to take off at the intercollegiate level, if that's what does ultimately end up happening, if there's a path forward to sponsor it without having to cut programs, I'm all for it, and I'm intrigued by the opportunity that this presents.
Andrew, nobody thought Arizona State was going to become a hockey powerhouse. There's not much ice in the desert, so why can't they become a skiing powerhouse?
That mean they had to manufacture some snow, and that's harder to do than an ice rink.
Hey, you could build an indoor ski area.
You
VR
could,
ski.
We got a car vending machine in Tempe. We can build an indoor skiing facility.
So it'll be what? The Carvana indoor ski?
Sponsored by Carvana.
Are we just gonna take a portion of a mountain and just put it there then? I don't.
Hey,
That would be innovative, I guess.
There's room on that west side where the old silo is.
So I say, what are we waiting for? I always want to add a new ski area to my list of skied venues. So let's do it. We have one more football topic. Little fun development coming out of spring practice is defensive end Clayton Smith has been seeing some reps at wide receiver. Could this be a development into him becoming a two-way player? Austin, since you brought this one up to us, give us your take on it.
I don't know if I believe it's a pathway to him being a two-way player, but I would not be shocked if this is some sort of conditioning drilling or potentially setting him up to be used on specific packages. I mean, he's a big dude, so I would love to see him. Who knows? Like, the way I look at him, just like he's an edge rusher. He's got the build for pass rusher. But if you're going to look at him and juxtapose him to other offensive players, I mean, who's to say he can't act in a Shimon Mateer type of role in making the big blocks, but also being able to catch something on a key third down, maybe in a deep red zone package. I mean, you never know. Like, why, if you're gonna give him reps at wide receiver in practice, I mean, heck, why not bring back the Sparky package and make him and feature him in there? I'm sure he would bust over a few defensive linemen trying to get into the end zone.
You took the name right out of my mouth. I was immediately drawing the comparison to Shimon Mateer. Very similar build, within an inch of each other's heights and probably within a couple pounds of each other's weight. But Andrew, have you seen that at spring practice so far when you've been?
Yeah, I haven't been as often as I'd like to be, but yeah, that's something I have seen is Clayton Smith playing offense. There was a play last year, and I think it was spring ball. Maybe it was either that or way early in the fall ball, where there was a one-on-one where they'd flip off offensive guys to defense and defensive guys to offense, and they have Sam Levitt throw him the ball. Levitt threw a lob pass to Smith. Smith went up and mossed whoever it was on defense. I forgot who it was. And the whole team went nuts. Everyone was watching. And as soon as Smith caught that ball, the whole team was, oh my goodness, did you just see that? That type of stuff with a lot more colorful language than what I said, but the point is clear. Smith could be something. This could be just something that you forget about by week 3. So you never know. There's so many weapons, or at least potential weapons on offense, that it's hard to see where he's going to fit in. You have so many transfers, guys like Jarrett and Hamilton, Derek Eusebio that are returning in the wide receiver room as well. You have tight ends like AJ Ia and Kamari Anderson, who you like. The running backs, I think, are all pretty good. So it'll be interesting to see who takes the lead on these offensive roles, wide receiver roles, running back roles. I don't know. It's still way too early to give anything away at this point.
He wears number 10. Who else wears number 10 on offense? He's the only one on the team that wears number 10?
The former number 10 was one Sam Levitt.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. So nobody on offense wears 10 now?
Well, it's Clayton Smith now. He's the only one on the team that wears 10.
Wow. Okay, so the first thing I thought of was this has to be trick. Like, to me, this has to be trick play practicing. So do you I didn't know if there was anybody on offense that also wore number 10 that you potentially throw him out there in order to throw a defense off, or I don't know. Like, there's got to be a specific package that they're designing him for to throw him out there as a blocker, or just to sneak somewhere where if someone recognizes like, oh, this guy plays defense, I'm not gonna take him seriously. He's just a decoy out here. But I mean, like you said, this could be something we forget about by week 3, but I've got a feeling we're going to be talking about this at some point in the season where they break out this package to get sneaky, get creative. Maybe they're down a couple touchdowns in the third quarter, fourth quarter, and they got to break this out in the red zone. I don't know, but I feel like we're going to be talking about this at some point later down the road.
Yeah, after seeing that play last year, I thought we'd be seeing Clayton Smith on offense in one of those number 10 is now wearing number 41 type things. I thought that would happen at least once this season. It didn't. So that was something I'm surprised that they didn't practice and now are potentially using. We don't know. This season.
Yeah, Austin, I'm with you. I'd like to see see this develop into some more specialized packages. Maybe not roll out consistently on offense, but throw a little surprise in there. Throw a little razzle dazzle. Keep something in the back pocket. But as spring practice is still ongoing, obviously, and there is the upcoming football fan fest set for April 17th, I believe. Is that the same day as the spring game, Andrew?
Yes. The spring game is the fan fest.
There we go. So
nobody does spring games anymore. It's sad. We used to be a proper country.
Spring game, fan fest, April 17th. Great opportunity for fans to get their first look at the 2026 Sun Devil football team. I want to close at least myself out on this on the last note coming up here. Pat's Run, the 22nd annual Pat's Run, is coming up on not this Saturday, but next Saturday, April 11th. I am, for those of you watching on YouTube, I am repping this year's edition of the race shirt. I will be not running in it in Tempe this year. I will be taking part remotely from Las Vegas during the NCAA hockey tournament, but thrilled as ever to take part in this event and honor the legacy that is Pat Tillman. You can still sign up to run either in person or remotely, and for those of you who are outside of the Phoenix area, check your local alumni chapters for various honor runs that take place throughout the month.
Not always able to make it to the official chapter runs, but I always get 4.2 miles in every year on the date.
Walk, run, do a little bit of both, but no matter what, it's always honoring Pat and carrying on his legacy. That's it for me, guys. Any other walk-in topics before we sign off here? Well, for Austin Bundy, for Andrew Hazlett, and for everybody else at Devils in Detail, I'm Tom Harden. As always, give 'em hell, Devils.